Hi, I'm Michelle Collins.
And I'm Edith Bowman.
And welcome to On the Box, the podcast where we celebrate the latest releases and most loved shows on BritBox and beyond.
This week, very excited, we're going to be joined by, she's many things. She's mainly, I would say, people know her as a comedy icon, Ruth Jones, but she is so much more.
I am so excited to talk to Ruth. I know most people would probably know her from Gavin and Stacey, where she starred alongside James Corden. Where I know Ruth Jones from and where she changed my life was her appearance on Nighty, which was one of the first British comedies that I felt cool for knowing about because most other Americans didn't know about it. And I had a friend who had a DVD of it, and it was like my version of The Ring. Like, I watched Nighty, which, by the way, before anyone fires it up, it's an extremely dark comedy. It's Julia Davis.
She's a legend.
She's one of the funniest, I think, can I say, most underrated comedic actresses, I believe.
I would absolutely agree. When she popped up, did she not pop up in a Paul Thomas Anderson film with a very small role? But I was kind of like, why is nobody, in the same way that Olivia Colman kind of made that transition from, like Peep Show into Tyrannosaur, and you're like, whoa, and she's winning Oscars. I feel like Julia is another one of those actresses where, I don't know, she's just not been given the opportunity to really show the depth of what she's capable of doing.
My gosh, I love Julia Davis and Ruth Jones, who was in that show in sort of a smaller role. But my God, the impact she had on me from Nighty. So I'm so excited to talk to her about just working on that, because it's a show that actually, I think, changed me as a comedian.
That's brilliant. And also because Julia then obviously kind of repaid the favor in a way by playing Dawn and Gavin and Stacey. And so a small role, but my God, did she make an impact every time she was in a scene.
Edith Bowman. I spent the weekend binging The Other Bennet Sister.
Same.
I'm going to be honest, I did not know what to expect. I knew it was a period piece and that it was 10 episodes. And I thought, okay, I watched all 10 episodes this weekend and I would do it again. What a fantastic show. So brilliantly acted. Like the acting, I don't even know where to begin. I loved it.
It's so different to anything else I've seen that's kind of been period stuff, and that was something I wanted to talk to you about as well. But Ruth plays Mrs Bennet, maybe one of the kind of best or most famous villains in the world, but it was Ella who plays Mary Bennett in this, who I just thought the casting in this, particularly with her, was extraordinary. And I think this would have been a very different show had they cast someone else in that role, because what she brought to it physically, as well as, her kind of performance, I just thought was fantastic.
Could not agree more. Her name is Ella Bruccoleri. And as I was watching this girl act, and I had never seen her in anything before, so this was for me like a debut role.
Yeah.
I was thinking, where did this brilliant girl come from? There was a scene where she got flustered about something and her face literally flushed, like her face got red. And I thought, oh my God, how do you even do that as an actress? How do you control mentally your body to even have that reaction? She is so fantastic in it.
It's it's when she goes to get glasses fitted, and it's the way that she almost uses them as a kind of a mask in a way, that she loves, that she's able to, and they're tiny little glasses, but she's able to kind of almost hide behind them and then make faces. She's got this brilliant way of using her face as expressive and telling the story, telling us how she feels. I loved it. I thought she was just such a refreshing take on this whole kind of period and idea.
She was brilliant. And and Ruth was so great. I'm doing this episode from my parents' house. My mother is locked into the room, and I'll say, as someone who also had a very strong presence of a mother in her life, this role did affect me. It was very, very well done, and you have to kind of dislike her, but then you just can't help but like her. It's one of those sort of roles.
Yeah, and also there's Mr. Hayward in it, Donald Finn, who I most recently saw in Young Sherlock. But I was hold on a minute, his real accent is really thick Irish. And in this, he's got this kind of Northern English, brilliant, beautiful lilt to him. I'm like, he's good. He's really good.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, he's much younger than me, but I did have a little crush on him in this. I had to Google him to be like, how old is he? And he's 30, which is not in this day and age unheard of. But I mean, he was born when I was entering high school. So let's talk about it as a family. It's fine. But he is so cute in it and charming and just constantly has this sort of like wicked smile on the entire series that I must admit I was very taken with him. He was great. Anyway, I digress. This show, though, was great. And I'll add, and I am excited to talk about this with Ruth, that also is someone who was a nerdy girl and, you know, kind of the ugly stepsister, if you will. I mean, I'm not putting myself down like that, but, you know, I was always like the intellectual, not the captain of the cheerleading team. I just found so much to relate to in this story, watching this very awkward young girl who kind of was forgotten about in a way, find her own footing in my favorite city of London, and also eventually kind of being the apple of not just one suitor, but a number of suitors liked her,
yeah.
which then I started thinking maybe I was born in the wrong period. Maybe me, little glasses, bustier, back in the day, you know, you never know, Edith.
I've got a really funny little story because I love a bit of, I like any excuse to kind of dress up, Halloween, all that kind of thing. And I was just thinking we have to get you across and we do a kind of like dangerous liaisons kind of like cosplay type thing. One of the most ridiculous parties that I've ever been to in my life was Boy George's 40th birthday party, which was dandies and courtesans, to which I went to this place called Angels, which is a big old kind of fancy dress shop in London that most of these shows will probably get a lot of their costumes from. And when I went full out, I literally like created a boobs and a bust that I don't even have, and just like couldn't go to the toilet for the whole time I was at the party because this dress had so many layers and corsets and stuff. But it was amazing to dress up in one of those things. It was. Have you ever done it?
I haven't. And as you're talking about it, all I can picture is my favorite movie ever, Amadeus. And just, you know, those scenes again with that beautiful wardrobe. And, you know, we really used to turn some looks out. When did things change? When the Gap opened? Like, what was the shift for us as a humanity when we stopped, you know, lacing up our corsets, which was for the best, I think, in general. But
when did tracksuits come into it, basically? I blame the tracksuit.
Like 70s, I think, right? Leisure suits. I'm trying to think, when did we...
death of women dressing up like in a kind of...
I think it was the war. I think it was World War II, I think, is when I'm just going back. Like, when did we stop cinching ourselves as women? Again, for the best. I say this as a feminist, but also a little fun.
I wonder if Ruth Jones likes wearing corsets.
Let's open with that. She has no idea that we've just been talking about this, but my first question, she's going to be like, this girl is an idiot. Like, so now the corsets had to hurt. She was great in this, though. God, she really nailed the part. You know, there's something about certain actresses where you can just see the judgment in their face. Like, she doesn't even have to say much, but you just know who she is by the way she looks at her loser daughter in her eyes. And it's really telling and great.
It's so, I mean, just like, I don't think I've ever hated a character she's played in anything she's done. And so it was so weird watching this and just going, you're horrible. Obviously not Ruth, but her character, and just kind of that. But that must be fun as well for her as well, in terms of that idea of like, because everything I've ever seen her in, it's just been, she's been hilarious. She's being kind of warm and funny. But this was like, but she did it really well.
Well, we have so much to discuss with her. I mean, she's going to be, I don't think she's ready for the amount of engagement we're about to hit her with.
I think we go straight in with a corset, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, I know that Edith and I are over the moon. I have looked up to this woman since I knew about her. She's brilliant, and she is one of the stars of the literally addictive new show, The Other Bennet Sister. I binged it in a single day. I don't have much of a life. Thank you for asking. It is the one and only Ruth Jones joining us. Ruth, we are so thrilled to have you. You have no idea.
Oh, thank you so much. What a lovely welcome. Thank you very, very much. I'm very glad to be here.
The show is fantastic, Ruth. It's so good.
I mean, I'm getting such great response to it. People seem to love it. I think because it's because it's short, because they're half hours, and it really moves along at a pace, and it's got a lot of resonance, I think, in the present day as well. So people, and it's funny and it's moving, and the central performance by Ella Bruccoleri is just superb. So yeah, it's gone down really, really well.
I'm so glad you brought up the length as the first thing, because I have to tell you that I often say maybe there are no editors working in the business anymore, because I see a movie, it's 7 hours long. I only have so much time left on this planet, Ruth, and I'm going, why are they torturing us? And when I started with episode 1 and I saw that it was 30 minutes, I'm not kidding you that I said, I already love it. And it made it so much easier to actually sit there and just watch the entire thing, or however many you could get through. The length alone was a pleasure, really.
Oh, that's so nice. I mean, it's funny though, isn't it? Because our viewing habits have changed so much in the last, I guess, 5 years, 10 years, with being able to binge watch. I mean, even that has become a new phrase for the English dictionary, binge watch. And so many people I know, because this is available in the UK on iPlayer, I think they dropped the first 5 episodes and then the next 5. And people were like, oh my gosh, I've watched 5 episodes and I need to watch the other 5. I'm 60 in September, right? And I remember what it was like on a Sunday night to watch a period drama, and you would have to wait. And there was a real painful pleasure in having to wait a whole week before you could watch it. But it is so interesting how people's habits have changed now, and how we want to consume it all in one go.
And you mentioned Ella as well. I mean, she's just fantastic in this, as are you, in a role that I was saying to Michelle earlier, just having enjoyed you on screen for so long, and the characters that you've played, just fallen in love with. This was a different case in terms of she's a piece of work, isn't she? She's God.
I think she's a delicious monster.
Yes.
She's so, you can't help but, I mean, this is why I fell in love with the part when I read it. You can't help but be drawn to her, because she's so awful. She's awful. And she's harsh and she's cruel, but she's funny, and she does. There's something like any sort of villain in any comedy, or you go to the pantomime, any villain, you're sort of drawn to their villainy when they are a funny villain, I think.
Yeah.
And what I love about her, though, is that by the end of the series, for the people, no spoiler alerts here, but by the end of the series, you do feel like she justifies her existence, and she justifies her behavior. You can, and it's not really a very nice justification, but it's true. It was to do with the societal norms and how things were for people, for women back then.
Yeah.
She says, I had 5 daughters, all of whom must marry if they were to survive. And so in a lot of ways, you could say, well, she was being a lioness of a mother, because she was protecting them and trying to make sure that they had a future. I do feel, though, that in terms of her relationship with Mary, who Ella plays, I've said this before, but I think of my Mrs Bennet as an 18th century estate agent who has 5 properties to sell, one of which just will not go, no matter how much she reduces the price.
Yeah.
That's
beautiful.
For years,
Well, you said that she was a villain, and I agree. But I did understand where she was coming from a little bit, and especially because, she loses her husband, the great Richard E. Grant, who, I mean, the moment I laid eyes on his face, I thought, okay, this is a great show. I just knew from the second I saw him, you feel like you're in good hands. But she loses her husband and then has these daughters. And yeah, there was something relatable about her character. And I don't know if that's because I myself had a difficult mother who happens to be sitting in the room next door. So I need to really kind of be careful with what I say. And the thing is, we loved Ella so much, Mary in this show. And I say this as someone who was also kind of the ugly duckling child, the smart one, the reader kind of thing. And the whole thing was just very relatable. Their dynamic, I think a lot of women, especially watching it play out, will find something that will remind them of their own childhood and the pressures that they were put under by their own mothers.
Oh, for sure. And I think also that's why I was saying that I think it resonates today, because I've got, nieces and goddaughters who are that kind of age, and the pressure that they're put under, not just in terms of their physical appearance and the influence that, which has been widely documented, the influence of the internet and social media on how you're meant to look, the way that you're meant to conform, the way that, all these young girls have the same eyebrows, for example. And I just feel that what I love about Mary as a character is that she is saying, yeah, I'm the odd one out. I'm not I'm not in with the in crowd, but becomes, you fall in love with her because she is such an individual and celebrates that individuality. And I feel that gives reassurance to young girls, especially, who can go, no, actually, so what? Sod you all. I can celebrate my differences, and that's one of the things I really loved about the show, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a really brilliant thing the show does, is like it makes it feel, considering those things were happening, those sort of restraints on women, but also the expectations of them back then. And it relates to all that now, but through social media and how that's part of the show. It's so like she was almost faced with it rather than kind of seeing it through a screen. It's just a beautiful way of contemporizing those narratives between then and now, and how relevant they still are, really.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it is shocking when you think back to how, like the situation that the Bennets find themselves in when Mr. Bennet dies, and that their home is just automatically going to some distant cousin.
Yeah.
Where's the fairness in that? And yet it was totally acceptable, and nobody put up a fight about it. And it does make you realize how far we have come since then. And I mean, when we were filming, I used to say to the girls, my daughters, I say, what do they do all day? I mean, literally, what do they do? They play the piano and they sew. I'd love to be able to learn something on the piano and play it for my friends, or to sew. I can do patchwork. I've had my phases of doing patchwork, and I found it very, very therapeutic and very relaxing. But to do it all bloody day,
so bored.
So boring.
Just the biggest quilt in London. I'm like,
exactly.
This must be Ruth's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just quilting all day.
Reading all day, I think, is quite a nice prospect. But even that, there's only so much you can read.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm thinking about the show now because, again, you really were kind of the only character that didn't see the beauty in Mary, in a way, because the family that she, I guess there's one other nemesis that kind of comes in later on in the series, but she gets kind of taken in by this family in London who are so above and beyond kind to her. And then all these like handsome suitors come into the house, and she's a very plain, that's part of the character, plain looking girl. She's not there to be a beauty or anything. And they're all taken by her. And it's very refreshing to watch people kind of not judge her by her physicality and just accept her right away, except for you, obviously. But, it's very refreshing to watch that, actually, as a series.
Yeah, because I think what it's doing is pointing out the fact that it's about chemistry and about how you react to somebody's personality. I personally, I would always be attracted to somebody who was funny, and I just think that these two guys have come into Mary's life, and it is refreshing for them. It is refreshing for them, and I love how she reacts to them as well.
Yeah,
because she doesn't for one minute. Yeah, she doesn't for 1 minute think, Oh, they find me attractive.
Yeah.
She can't see her own utter beauty. She can't see it. And I think from Mrs. Bennet's point of view, she is an inconvenience because she will not conform. And, it's painful when she tries to make her wear things and to brush her hair, and there's something so horrible about that scene when she's brushing her hair, to sort of literally groom her daughter to make her attractive to a man who's not particularly well. Actually, he's very funny, but that aside,
Yeah.
Collins, he's not
Yeah.
a great catch in terms of the Darcys of that world,
Yeah, there's such a beautiful physical storytelling going on with the show, which I loved. Like it's like, and Ella's so great at it with even things like you're talking about the optometrist with the glasses. When she gets the glasses, they're like a little kind of mask almost in a way, and the physical faces that she pulls, and there's just some really beautiful physical comedy in the show as well that happens, particularly I think with Ella. It's brilliant.
Oh, I agree. And when we used to do scenes together, I often had to apologize to Ella afterwards. I said, "I'm so sorry. I'm such a bitch. I'm really sorry." And she was going, "No, it's fine. It's fine." But what I used to love was watching the way she works is quite extraordinary. She would always take herself off and sit quietly. She would join it. She would be sociable with everybody, but she was so focused on her character, always had her script with her, was always working, all the time working. And often the scenes that I was in with her, I don't think because I suppose I was in my
In
character,
it, yeah.
I often didn't realize. It was only when I saw it on screen, her amazing comedy timing and her expressions were just beautiful to watch, because she has the heart, and she can pull at the heartstrings and the emotions, but her comedy timing was superb, and she's got real funny bones.
We wanted to ask you initially, the first question was going to be about corsets because
Yeah.
we were
How do you feel about
discussing,
them?
we think we like them. We were saying that, there is something fun as a
On the
woman.
occasion, on an
Yeah.
occasion, not all the time.
No. But, something about the idea of being able to like, not just reshape yourself, but getting dressed up like that must have been a very fun part of doing the show.
It's interesting actually, because I think some of the girls didn't like wearing corsets, but I absolutely loved it. And I don't know if it's because of being a woman of a certain age where things are tending to go south and, you need a little bit of help. But I found it terribly freeing actually to wear a corset. It really helped me with the character, because it added to that sense of her being this basically like a big sailing ship that comes into the room. And also because of what it does to your bust, and it really pushes the puppies up, you just feel like, oh, it tapped in to Mrs. Bennet's sexuality and how she's so vain and so narcissistic, but she thinks that she is really still very attractive. And I think she was in her younger days. I think she was. But I think she still thinks that. So we did a couple of improvisations, which I don't think they made it actually into the final cut. But I think it was when Mrs. Bennet had arranged for some suitors to come to court Mary. Basically, Mrs. Bennet was flirting with the suitors, and I just loved that. And it really was helped by the corset and just being able to sort of make you sit in a certain way and carry yourself in a certain way, and to have these great big bosoms just there, like a couple of weapons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To fight a battle with. Yeah.
There is a bit of that in, because it's really funny, because she's flirting with one of them on, like, I think on the couch, and Mary's just sat like on a chair on her own, just kind of like rolling her eyes.
Yes.
So great.
In that sequence, yeah.
So great. But Nessa liked a bit of a corset, did she not? Occasionally, a slightly
was-
different corset, but
Yeah, she didn't. Well, she did actually on her wedding. I think she wore a couple for both of her wedding days. It was a type of corset. It was more of a bodice, actually.
Yeah.
She certainly liked to get the girls out, definitely.
I mean, who doesn't? You know, if you have them, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like we might as well. You're really making me think that I need to go on Amazon and buy like a fabulous, like Brazilian corset just to lift them up.
Yeah.
I'm also not young. I need something to happen to me.
But also, I don't even think you need to have big boobs, because you just need it, just because it helps you in that department.
No, I have them.
Absolutely.
They just need the moral support. I've got them. They're just they're losing the volume, put it that way, and we don't know each other well enough. But yes, I could use some help, Ruth. I have to bring something up, and just to shift gears a little bit, because when I found out you were coming on the show, I was over the moon, because your performance on one of my favorite, I'm going to say a comedy that literally shaped me as a comedian, is Nighty. And I remember when a friend of mine gave me this DVD, that's how long ago this was, and a friend who lived in London, and she was like, you have to watch this show. I had never heard of it. A, I felt so cool that as an American, I had heard of this show.
Right.
And B, when I watched it, I just saw the funniest women I had ever seen in my life putting on literally one of the funniest shows to ever exist. I have a few questions. One is, was this show big in England, or was this still even there kind of an underground success? Because for me, it's like, it has to be one of the funniest things ever created, and you are brilliant on it, Ruth. You know that.
Oh, thank you. Well, so a little bit of background. Julia Davis and I met each other in 1992. We were both in an improvised comedy group in Bath called More Fool Us. And she also became friendly with Rob Brydon, and she and Rob went on to write, I don't know, have you ever seen Human Remains?
I haven't, no.
Oh, well, I mean, if you like Nighty, you'd
Love it.
Oh, and I would die for Rob Brydon, by the way, like one of the other funniest people ever.
It's a really, really interesting, well, it's very, very funny, but it's interesting to watch Rob in that, because he's doing stuff that had never seen him do. You know, they play couples. It's a series of 6 episodes where they play different couples. Okay. So there's like a swinging couple from Birmingham, for example, and you know who run a B&B. It's great. So through that, then we ended up. Julia had this idea, and then we did quite a lot of improv to work out the scripts and stuff. But we still, to this day, text each other sometimes as Jill and Linda. Like, I remember I was coming back from India, and I had to go through, this is about 8 years ago, and I had to go through one of those scanners, and I just sent her this long message as Linda going, Jill, I've just gone through the scanner, and I've got a lot of explosives on me, and now they put me in jail. Jill, can you help me? But we've always loved doing those characters. But what I found incredible about the show, because that was another BBC 3 show that came out, and it was very, very cult viewing. And I think I met somebody the other night, and I always have immense respect for people when they tell me that the favorite thing they've seen me in is Nighty, because I just think it was so good and so different and so daring, and there was no way we would be able to make that today.
I was just going to ask. There's literally no way. And it makes me sad that somehow is a society, and it's here in the US obviously too, that we've like devolved almost where, wait, we were on the cusp of something so amazing and edgy and brilliant, and just kind of like no limits on what could be said or done. And yet now you're absolutely right. They could never make it.
No, they couldn't. And it's incredibly popular with gay men.
Oh,
and I went
everything.
I went to a fundraiser a few years ago for Elton John's charity, AIDS charity, and George Michael it was a concert George Michael was putting on, and I was fortunate enough at the end we had a dinner, and I sat next to George Michael.
Oh my God.
He just raved about Nighty. He just that's all he wanted to talk about was Nighty. And I thought, well, that is praise indeed.
Can we get like a reboot or?
Well, we have talked about it. I mean, it's Julia's show, it's Julia's baby, but I would love to play Linda again. I'd love to. Yeah,
it would be great. The makeup alone. I mean, just please, for us, do it. We need it.
Is it nice to be in stuff as well? Like with the Other Bennet Sister, where or do you kind of, when you're writing something, do you know what I mean? When you're involved behind the scenes in creating characters and stories and relationships and stuff, is it nice to kind of not have that responsibility, or do you kind of like, I don't know, I guess there's collaboration along the way as well, in terms of people are open to your thoughts and what you think a character is doing, and.
I think because I've been on the other side, so I created a series for Sky called Stella, which we did 58 episodes of, and it was set in the
Was
valley.
it 58? Oh my God.
Yeah,
wow.
we did 2 Christmas specials. And because of being on the other side of that, of creating it and writing it, and the same with Gavin and Stacey, I was very sensitive to the fact that if anybody wanted to change lines or, or offered up suggestions, I would always listen to it. But I also felt like, well, no, I kind of worked hard on that dialogue to get that as it was. I mean, sometimes other people's suggestions were absolutely right, but often I felt like, no, these are the lines. Please will you say the lines? So because I was aware of that, I feel very sensitive to it the other way around as well. So Sarah Quintrell, who did the screen adaptation for The Other Bennet Sister, was always very, very careful. If I wanted to, and it wasn't like changing a line significantly, it might have been a little tweak here and there, but I always checked with her, and she was always on set anyway, which was great. Because it's such a precious thing as a writer. You want to be respected. I've been in a position where I think the second thing that I wrote, which was an episode for something on ITV, and I went to the read through, and this actress just really kind of really had a go at me about my character wouldn't say this. My character, there's no way my character would. I always remember it had an Arga in it, one of those cookers, like the old-fashioned farmhouse cookers. My character wouldn't know what an Arga was. She wouldn't know, and I was mortified. So I'm always very sensitive to that. Having said that, Sarah was always very open to discussing lines if things were to be changed, but they were tiny little things. The only thing I did change in the Other Bennet Sister was I had that line. I said, "Oh, please, can I say a trifle?" And it was, "He's not here to be passed around like a sherry trifle." I did ask if I could say that. In fact, I think I sneakily put it in the read through to see if it worked.
Now, again, we as Americans obviously know James Corden. He had his long running late night show here. It is kind of amazing how he was able to cross the pond and create success here. And it's fairly rare, I think, for most English comedians, I think, to see the success that he had here. Did you know when you were making Gavin and Stacey, like, this is an international talent? I mean, this is clearly, he's a brilliant stage actor, singer. He does it all. Cats. Yeah. Did you see Cats? I mean, forget it, Ruth. He does it all.
He only left my house about half an hour ago.
You're kidding. Oh, it's so funny. Yes.
We're writing together at the moment. So yeah, so James and I met on Fat Friends, which was Kay Mellor's series about a slimming club back in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And he was always a really positive force. That was the thing. He was always a positive force in a room. He was always ready to laugh. He was always ready to have fun. But he was always an incredible storyteller. So he had the ability to hold the audience around him of people that he was working with. And I always remember Alison Steadman saying, you should do stand-up because you just are at ease with that performance level. And I think because he really is multi-talented, James. He is multi-talented. He is an incredible writer. He can sing, he can dance, he can interview people, and he's naturally curious. So I think that adds to why he became so good on a chat show. But also his chat show was so much more than a chat show, wasn't it? Like the amount of the skill that he had in putting the different features into it was amazing. And I went to watch him record it when we were writing the 2019 special. I went over to LA and watched him. It was amazing to watch. But I think it was a very brave step to go to the States, because in Britain we like to pull people down and go, oh, who does he think he is?
Yeah.
And America is always, I think, very welcoming and much more, I don't know, I think ready to
Give it a go attitude, isn't it? It's
go.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think he did amazingly. And I watched the last of his shows. I watched it, and I was very emotional, because it was like 8 years he was there, you
A
know?
long time. I
Yeah.
prefer the English way. I like bringing people down. Sometimes they need it. And, you know, I love America, but I'm sick of it a little bit. You know, it's nice to have some edge sometimes, which...
Yeah, sure.
You've been to
yin
LA.
and
You know
yang.
how it is. It's so fake. You get there. Have you ever been to Erewhon? Do you ever walk into Erewhon as a Welsh woman and think, the hell is going on here?
Oh, no, but I did go to, is it Bristol Market?
Oh, Bristol Farms. Yes.
Bristol Farms. I mean, that was, but I did get a couple of really good carrier bags from there, which I've still got. I still
Keep
use.
talking. Now we're getting somewhere. Yes, go on.
Yeah, they were amazing. They're insulated, and I still use them to this day.
I'm
And
shocked
that was
because the Waitrose bags for me are like
Oh my
Hermes
God,
quality.
you're
Those are my
hilarious.
Birkins, the Waitrose like Lulu Guinness bags. It's what I can afford. They're £10. I love them. Anyway,
I love that. I did see Ruth. I did see James on. Who was he chatting to? Chris Evans, actually.
yeah.
A little while ago, and he said that you guys were writing together, playing brother and sister. I was like so excited, because that relationship of you two creating things is just really special, and it's been so rewarding for us, you know, as fans with what you've created and performed as well, you know. So it's exciting to know that you're working on something
thank
new
you.
together.
Yeah, we're writing for Apple, and it's about
Ooh.
a choir, and we are playing brother and sister.
Amazing.
And we're doing well. It's 8 episodes. We're about halfway through episode 8 now, so we're getting there.
Do you just like sit around a table and just throw ideas around and just kind of
Yeah,
just like-
basically, we're not very grown up as writers. We don't have like proper plan or or come up with a deck or anything like that. We tend to write quite instinctively, I think. But
it works.
yeah, it seems to. I mean, who knows? We know when people are gonna always go, oh, it's not like Gavin and Stacey, but then nothing ever will. You know, you can't replicate the same thing. If you just can't. If you have something successful, it's going to be very hard to top it.
Yeah.
But all we can do is stay true to what we write and the characters that we create. We love character-led scripts and worlds, and we love worlds that have got heart in them and emotion and comedy. So hopefully we'll come up with that.
So are you guys, I assume James is singing in this. Is this like yet another vehicle to
And Ruth.
hear his gift?
She's got a voice.
And Ruth. No, I'm that's my question. Are you an amazing singer? I love to hear this as a singer myself. I love music.
Well,
Go
I
on.
know I can hold a tune. I was in Sister Act, the musical, on
Oh my
stage.
God. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Did you ever meet Whoopi when you were doing it?
No, because
Oh no.
she did it a few years ago in the UK, I think, or she was going to, and then COVID happened. I can't remember what the order was, but no, I did it last year at 2024 at the Dominion Theatre, and I played Mother Superior.
Oh my God.
And it was the most scary thing I've done, but so rewarding, and I loved it. And do you know what? I sometimes really indulge myself and listen to the soundtrack, and I go, I can't believe I used to sing like that.
What an exciting thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Quickly going back just before we finish that, when you're talking about BBC Three and how at the time it was such a brilliant platform for just really left field comedy, or just comedy that was different to, you know, kind of what you'd see on other sort of terrestrial channels at the time, whether it be Bush or, you know, it was like there's nothing really like that now that's given kind of new comedy and new writers the chance to try out stuff, really, is there?
Well, I suppose what we've got now, which we didn't have back then, is so many more outlets in terms of social media.
Yeah.
And I said, go have their own YouTube channel or whatever and put stuff out there. without having to go through an official channel. But BBC Three is back again, of course, because it was taken off for years. And I remember being one of the people that said, no, don't take BBC Three away. And James was the opposite to me, because he was sort of saying, well, this is how our viewing habits are changing now. And younger people are not watching TV. They are looking at stuff on their phones, or they're not doing the traditional way of what TV viewing. But back then, Stuart Murphy, who was the head of the channel, when you think about the programs that came through there, well, Nighty Night was on there, Mighty Boosh, Little Britain, some really great comedies.
Formative comedies, honestly.
Yeah, that started off there. And Stuart, I will always be grateful for, because he went on to
Gavin and Stacey, didn't he?
He was Gavin and Stacey. So he commissioned it, but it was then for BBC Three. But then after that, he went to Sky and he commissioned Stella. So I'm always grateful to Stuart. He actually sent us this, which James and I wrote a book about Gavin and Stacey, about our journey with it, and we put in it the email from Stuart where he said we'd sent him the treatment, and he actually said, I think this could be one of the best things that BBC Three ever makes. And we were like, but yeah, so we've always held on to that.
Ruth, I just stalked you on Instagram, forgive me, and I noticed in your bio you say you're a nap enthusiast. Yes. I have to ask an expert here. Give me some tips. What are we doing? Are we doing lavender sachets? Are we dimming the lights, counting to 10? Like, how does one in the middle of the day stop down, take a nap? What are your tips?
Oh, well, for a start, James and I are massive nappers. We have to nap. We had a nap this afternoon. Huh. I think
same bed or separate rooms?
Got an L-shaped sofa, which is really comfortable.
One at each end.
Foot to foot? How are we? Go on.
Yeah, it was foot to foot.
Okay.
We always, the one thing I would say as a little tip for the nap, when you start off the nap, you think, oh, it's afternoon. I feel okay. My temperature feels fine. I'm just ready. But you will always get a bit cold. So always have, even if it's a thin blanket, have something nearby to cover you. If you can get an eye mask, great. If it's the middle of the day. But there is nothing like it. When I'm filming, there's quite a trend now to do a rolling film day, so that they can finish early. And it means you don't get your hour's lunch. I now am like, I have to have my hour, because what I do, I have it all planned. I wolf down my lunch really, really quickly. And then I've always got a good solid half an hour, and I am out like a light, and I'm ready for the afternoon then.
God,
that is a good disco nap. That is.
I don't have the discipline for that. I actually took a nap yesterday that ruined my week. Like, I think I overdid it, slept 2 hours, woke up with a splitting headache. I also am in
that's too long.
It's too long. I'm an idiot. But I'm also staying in my mom and dad's house where it's about 78 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know in Celsius what that is. I wake up boiling hot, like I'm going through the change. It's happening to me. Sweating, it's not a good situation. So that's why I wanted your tips. Okay, thin blankie. Okay.
And also don't leave it too late to nap. There's a sort of an optimal time for the nap. You can't really nap. You certainly can't nap after 4 o'clock. I think 3:30 is pushing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is great. I'm so glad
like
I asked.
A half 1, 2 is an optimum, I think.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you would like to, not necessarily that you've been in, but something that you've been a fan of in TV and like to see it kind of back on our screens? Because that was the beauty of with Gavin and Stacey's, like there was, we had different moments where we thought it was over, and then you guys would come back with more for us, because there was so much demand for it and just so much love for it. So yeah, anything you'd love to revive?
Well, it's funny because I was talking to my friend the other day about children's TV from when we were growing up. So, and how much, we have all this nostalgia for it. But if you Google it on YouTube, it's so awful and boring. Like there was one called Mary, Mungo and Midge. And I watched it the other day, and it was so dull. I've got four grandchildren now, and the thought of putting them in front of that, they would just not be remotely interested. I used to love, one of the ones I loved was the Wombles. I loved
Yes.
Wombles. I know all the words.
Underground, overground, wombling free. The wombles of Wimbledon coming our way.
Obliterate or something.
It's where we
They
find.
were ahead of their time because they were into recycling.
Wow.
Huge recycling.
Okay,
It was
little
amazing.
Greta Thunbergs. We love it. Yeah.
They were.
Little funny Greta Thunberg.
They
Yeah.
really were. But the I don't know. I loved some of the old detective series like Prime Suspect and Cracker. I'd love to play Robbie Coltrane's part, but probably as
Wow.
Robbie Coltrane. I'd like to do it as a man. I always had this idea for a comedy. Well, yeah, for a detective, a TV detective who had a very weak stomach. And so, because whenever they go to the site of the murder and they're looking at it and going, oh, right, that looks like, was it done were they bludgeoned? Yeah, and they're talking like this. I just think, most normal people, like if it was me, I would approach the site of the death and I would just be going,
Yeah. Well, listen, Ruth, I know Edith feels this way. I feel this way. You've lived up to every expectation, and it was fairly high, I think, for both of us. But you are so lovely, so funny, and so brilliantly talented in every direction that no words can do you justice. The Other Bennet Sister, you are fabulous on it. It is an addictive show. Everybody listening, please take it from me. I know you think I'm paid to say this. I would not be saying it if I didn't feel it. It is unbelievably entertaining, and just a huge congratulations on it and everything else.
thank you so much. And I hope that American audiences enjoy it as much as it seems to be being enjoyed in the UK. It's certainly a little bit of light relief from everything else that's going on in the world at the moment. So, yes, I hope you enjoy.
Thanks so much, Ruth. Take care. Thanks
Thank
for your time.
you.
Ruth,
Bye,
thank
lovely.
you. So nice to meet you. Have a great day.
Thanks so
Bye.
much. You've been listening to On the Box, hosted by Edith Bowman and Michelle Collins. Theme music was by Dario Forzato and Canio Claudio Tristano, courtesy of 411 Music. The mix engineer was Arlie Adlington. The production coordinator was Caroline Barlow. The production manager was Mabel Finnegan-Wright. The production executive was Ian Hayden. The executive producers for BritBox are Alana McGahey and Diane Robina. The executive producer for BBC Studios is Pete Strauss. The producer was Rajiv Karia. On the Box is a BBC Studios production for BritBox.